league, and I made a big play.
He made a great play. That's all it is. He made a good play. Can't do nothing about it.
I came into the league as a defender, so it felt like an instinct, and it's a great game-winning block.
Yeah, I'd say everybody agrees. Bam Adebayo made a good play. Epic block, maybe block of the year at the end of overtime in Game 1. That was the other day, though. Tonight, Game 2, Heat Celtics, 25 minutes from now on ESPN. Kurt Goldsberry now takes a deeper dive on Bam's big block.
It was a block that Magic Johnson called the best defensive play in NBA history.
Yeah, Magic.
Blocked in the rim by Bam Adebayo. Adebayo made the defensive play you're going to see 1,000 times on SportsCenter tonight.
Bam Adebayo makes Miami a real, actual, legit championship contender.
Now we just proving people wrong like we've been doing all the season.
Here's why. So far in the playoffs, Miami has an impressive overall net rating of 7.0, which ranks third among playoff teams. But when Adebayo is on the court, the Heat's net rating soars to 12.9, which is astounding. When he sits, Miami has a net rating of negative 5.7, which is really bad. That massive differential is the same as LeBron's. Why? Because Bam pretty much does everything. This season, he became just the second player all-time to lead a team in rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, and blocks. The other?
I'm about to check right now.
Someone else Magic Johnson saw make a few great plays. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1974-75.
Lots of perspective there for sure. That's how good that block was. Analyst and NBA champion Richard Jefferson live with me now from Orlando. Richard, Game 1 we know came down to those final seconds, but only after the Celtics lost that big fourth quarter lead. Miami forcing overtime, rest is history. So if you're Boston, what are the biggest adjustments you're making in Game 2 tonight?
Well, it's so funny. They often say that you'd rather lose in a blowout than a close game. There's not a lot of adjustments that Boston needs to do. One thing that I would say is they've used Kemba Walker, the Miami Heat have, as a back screener, which then forces Kemba to switch on smaller or on bigger players like Jimmy Butler, like Jay Crowder. That's one adjustment that I want to see Boston change defensively. But ultimately, it just comes down to knocking down shots. That's what this whole game is about. Jason Tatum had a three. Then he went in for a dunk against Bam Adebayo. Maybe he shoots a floater next time. So the adjustments are very, very small, very minute, but ultimately I think this is going to be a close series throughout.
Absolutely. 7 Eastern over on ESPN just a couple minutes from now. How about the Western Conference Finals? LeBron and the Lakers, they will have had 6 days off since they advanced to the conference finals, and now they're getting set for Denver. LeBron, impressed by these Nuggets. Listen.
Very resilient, very confident, very driven, and a very well-coached team. And it takes a lot of energy, effort, and a lot of desperation to be able to come back from a 3-1 deficit. And they did it twice. And so the respect level is out of this world for what we have for this ball club. And that's how we're going to this series, understanding what they're capable of and where they stand.
Richard, I know you've already gone on the record picking Denver in a full series in 7 games. We heard LeBron talk about how resilient they are, the good coaching. What do you think it is about this team that makes them so tough, a tough matchup for LA?
Well, the one thing that I really want the Denver Nuggets to do is get off to a better start in the series. You don't want to do that against the Lakers. But ultimately, one thing is true. When these kids' backs are against the wall, they play great. The reason why I think they're going to be a problem for the Lakers is because of this. In the first round, the Lakers were able to double-team Dame Lillard, force somebody else to beat you. In the second round, they're able to double-team James Harden, force Russell Westbrook and other players into shots. In this round, if you try and double-team Jamal Murray, then he's going to throw it to Jokic, who is the best player when it comes to just diving, hitting cutters, no-look passes, and finding threes. So it puts you in a position. Do you double-team Jamal Murray and then let Jokic beat you? Or do you allow Jamal Murray to go for 40 and 50 balls, which he has done pretty much throughout this entire postseason? So I think this is a different problem that the Lakers have had, and I think it's going to be a very difficult season, or series, Series,
for sure. This is why the coaching strategies are going to be just so fascinating to watch on both sidelines there. That, again, Game 1 tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern time there in Orlando. Richard Jefferson, thank you.
Thank you.
Sage, so many sports going on. I love it. Now to the NHL for the 9th time this season. The Lightning and Islanders will face off. The setting, Game 6. And for the second time in 3 days, the Bolts had the chance to finish off New York and advance to the Stanley Cup Final. In Game 5, the Islanders, they kept their season alive when Jordan Eberle was the difference in a 2-1 double overtime win. And here we go. Let's get you an update. Tampa's Braden Point will be a game-time decision tonight. Barry Melrose joining us now with much more. They're the team that just won't go away. What do the Islanders need to do to force a Game 7 on Saturday night, Barry?
Well, this is a terrible thing to say, but they got to hope that Braden Point doesn't play. That is huge. The 2 games they've won, Braden Point didn't play, so you see how valuable he is to Tampa Bay. The Islanders are a very good defensive team. They're a very good structured team. They're going to be a close game. They're not going to be a 5-4 game. It's going to be a 2-1 game, a low-scoring game. But I'll tell you, the Islanders are a very good defensive team. And one thing they have to do, shut down the stars of Tampa Bay. Don't let Nikita Kucherov beat you. Don't let Victor Hedman beat you. Make someone else on that team beat you, a guy that isn't normally an offensive player, because Tampa Bay have got guys that are high-powered, fast, aggressive, great offensive players, and those guys have been playing very, very well against the Islanders. So the Islanders got a tough job ahead of them, but don't let the Stars beat them, and again, hope that Braden Point maybe misses the next game, too.
Okay, so it's time to pick it. Who wins tonight?
I hate to say this because I sound like Switzerland, but it depends if a Point plays or not. If Point plays, Tampa Bay wins. If Point doesn't play, or does play, Washington wins.
It shows you
the Islanders win,
and it gives you an idea how critical that Point is. As you mentioned, the Lightning 0-2 without Point in this series. So at game time, if we see Point on the ice, according to Barry, the Lightning will win.